Hey yogis, my name is Brittany Timberlake. Welcome to my channel. If you enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. Today I am offering a full body yin yoga practice, and there'll be an extra emphasis on deep listening. So most of us are running around so busy all the time, and we're caught up in our minds. We're either worrying about the future or dwelling on something that's happened in the past. So for the next little while, I thought it would be so great if we could slow down and listen deeply to what our bodies are telling us and what emotions are coming up. So for this practice, you might like to have a blanket and 2 blocks. And to begin, if you want to lay down, if you're more comfortable, you can do that, or you could sit cross-legged with me. So sitting up onto a blanket if you're sitting. If you're laying down, just letting the arms and the legs splay out heavy. Closing your eyes or just having a soft gaze somewhere on the floor. And right away, let's listen. What is going on in the body? You might like to scan for areas that feel a little bit uncomfortable. Scan the body, looking for areas that feel really good. And as you notice these places of discomfort and comfort, can you notice them in a non-judgmental way? You're just listening, like that really good friend that loves you unconditionally. Just listening. Listening to the breath as it moves in and out of your nose. Allowing the breath to become a little bit more steady, a little bit more rhythmic. And as we begin to move into the physical yin yoga poses, I invite you to continue to have that connection with listening to what's going on in the body. listening to the good and the bad, and just holding it all in your awareness in a non-judgmental way. And opening the eyes if they're closed. If you're on your back, just rolling over to one side and coming up to a seat. And let's begin in caterpillar. We'll just take our legs out long in front of us. You could have the legs close together or even a little bit wider apart. And as we start to hinge forward, continually allowing the legs to soften and relax, letting the hands fall where they may. You might even flip your palms as a gesture of surrender, a gesture of committing to ease, doing no harm to your body. And if it's uncomfortable to have your head hang, you could take your 2 blocks and stack them underneath the forehead. Start to bring a little bit of weight into the hands, slowly rising up. You can walk the hands along the sides of the legs. Just allowing the head to land last. You could even keep your eyes closed. Letting the hands rest on the thighs. Letting the shoulders fall down and away from your ears. As we pause and we listen. Open the eyes and just bend one knee and the other. You could use your hands, bringing the feet a little bit further apart and then just leaning back onto the hands. We'll let the knees fall from side to side. So the next pose, I'm looking to target the inner thighs. So the first option is to come into a seated butterfly, where we bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out, and you can decide how far away or how close the feet are to you. So that's option one. The second option is to take your blanket, or you could come to the long edge of your mat, but we'll take our blanket, creating some support for the knees, and move into frog. So both poses or both shapes are targeting the same area of the body. It's just that butterfly has a little bit less pressure on the knees. So maybe you're working with some knee stuff today and you stay in butterfly, or you want to come into frog. It's really up to you. It's your yoga, your body. And so in frog, you could have your toes pointing in or pointing out. And you could come down onto blocks or forearms. You might even come all the way down onto your belly. Relaxing your jaw, relaxing your eyelids, your eyebrows. And even though we resolve to remain still in our yin practice, you might notice that over time, as the body, the connective tissue and fascia starts to soften and become more supple, the body's going to let you know maybe you want to shift and move a little bit deeper. slowly release. So if you are in seated butterfly, you can lean back on the hands and then just windshield wiper the knees, and then eventually come down onto your belly. For the frogs in the house, just starting to bring the weight into the hands, inch the knees back together, and then we'll all meet just down on our belly. So never any rush to get anywhere in a practice like this. So taking your time. Very normal to feel a sense of fragility and vulnerability after these long holds. So as you come down onto your belly, and just let the elbows come out to the side, stacking your hands, and then resting your forehead on your hands. Feeling the rebound. Now let's start to now bring our elbows underneath the shoulders as we come up into Sphinx. You might like to stack the shoulder right over the elbow so that that arm bone, the humerus bone, can take the weight, so you can let the upper body relax a little bit more, almost like you're hanging out in your bones. Allowing the entire lower body to soften. And the head can hang back, stay neutral, or even come forward onto a block. Reconnecting to your breath if you've lost that connection. And if your mind feels really busy, that's normal. See if the focus on the breath can anchor you to the here and the now. And you're welcome to stay here for the next minute or so. Or if you want to increase the sensation, increase the compression in the lower lumbar spine, you could turn the hands out to the corners of the mat and then start to press up. Notice that the glutes will want to engage. So see if you can fully relax the glutes, the legs, releasing muscular effort. Starting to lower the elbows if they're raised. And then just letting the elbows wing out to the sides, stacking the hands, and again, resting the forehead. Might feel nice here to bend your knees and just let the legs and the feet sway side to side. And we'll come into a little bit of an opening for the upper body. You might like to have your block close by here. We'll extend the left hand and arm out in front of us, and then just reaching the right arm underneath. We're able to get into the right shoulder and upper back. And so you could have the block underneath your forehead as you come down. We won't stay here as long just because the shoulder joints are so much smaller than the hips. Starting to lift up, pressing into the left hand, releasing the right arm, stretching that right hand arm out in front of you, switching sides, left arm reaching underneath the right. releasing from here. We'll just take the elbows back underneath the shoulders, moving the props to the side. Hands now to the outsides of the ribs. And just press our way up through a table. And when we come onto all fours, just move through a cat-cow just to release through the spine. So letting the belly drop, looking up. And then exhaling, rounding through the spine, feeling the navel move up towards the spine. And then coming to a neutral table, we'll come into a sleeping swan on the right side. Drawing the right knee in towards the right wrist and walking the left leg behind us. If you have really sensitive knees or anything going on with the knees, you could always come onto your back into a figure 4 shape. Always an option. And as the torso comes towards the mat, you could choose to play with having the torso a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left. So where the torso is in relation to the right leg is going to change what you're feeling in the targeted areas of the outer right IT band and glute and hip. over the next few breaths, slowly releasing. If you're in sleeping swan, it might feel nice to press back into a downward dog or child's pose. If you're on your back in figure 4, just letting the knees fall side to side. When you're ready, we'll move into the left side. If you're in sleeping swan, just drawing that left knee in towards the left wrist. On figure 4, bringing the left ankle to the right thigh. And setting up any props. And finding your edge, and then maybe you back off just a little bit. Possibly allowing the eyes to close. Turning your awareness inside. Allowing all of the background noises to fade away, the visual stimulus to fade away. Listening deeply to what is going on inside the body. Very slowly, we'll begin to release from figure 4 or a sleeping swan. And if you need to make any movements, please do, but otherwise we'll just come down to rebound on the back. So just coming to lay down. So if you're new to Yin Yoga, the rebound is time that we'll take after we've spent some time in a pose or a shape where you might notice the chi or energy moving through the areas of the body that we've compressed or stretched. Bending the knees, drawing the soles of the feet in towards the bum, and then taking our hands and reaching for the legs. Just give the legs a squeeze. You can rock side to side, massaging the lower back into the mat. And then we'll just roll over onto our left side. And then pressing your way up, just so you can come onto the left elbow. Let's move into cat pulling its tail. So the first option, first option here, staying up on the elbow. You're going to take your right hand, bending the bottom leg, and reach for that bottom left foot. And then start to draw the foot a little bit closer to you. If you can't reach that foot, that's okay. Just bending the leg is fine. And then we'll extend that right leg out. So you could stay here, or you could start to extend the left arm out so you come down onto your left shoulder. So for some people this might feel a little bit too aggressive of a twist. And then for others it can feel really juicy, so you can choose if you stay more upright or come down onto the floor. There's a lot going on in this shape. We're creating an opening through the front of the left quads and hip flexors. We're compressing the lower spine, getting into the outer right IT band and glute. And if you're all the way down on the floor, getting an opening through the chest. Releasing the grip of that left foot if you still have the grip on it. And coming to roll onto your back. Just walking the feet out a little bit wider so then the knees can fall together. You can place your hands on your abdomen. I'll start to bring the feet a little bit closer together, rolling over onto your right side. Coming up onto your right elbow. Bending that bottom right leg, taking your left hand and reaching for the foot. Or if you don't reach it, that's okay. Extending the left leg out. Deciding if you want to stay here or starting to reach the right arm out. And then allowing the left shoulder to fall towards the floor. Maybe you can gently pull the left foot a little bit further away from you. That's going to create more sensation through the front of the right thigh. Releasing the grip of the foot, extending the legs out, and then just rolling onto your back. Feet about mat distance apart, letting the knees fall in. Listening and observing. Now draw the knees in to the chest and give yourself a squeeze, a hug. And then we'll come into a butterfly shape with the legs. So the soles of the feet come together, the knees fall out. If it feels a little bit too aggressive for the inner thighs like this, you could always reach for your blocks and place your blocks underneath your knees. You could have your arms up overhead. The hands could be resting on your belly. Just finding a shape where you can fully surrender, fully let go. Releasing the shape of the legs. You could use your hands to help the knees close. Drawing the knees in again. And to close our practice, I like to give you the option where you could just let the legs and the arms splay out in kind of a traditional corpse pose or pentacle pose. Or if you'd like to close the practice seated, you're welcome to do that as well. So getting comfortable, maybe reaching for a blanket or an extra sweater. And I'd like to share with you a passage from Jillian Pransky's Deep Listening. Let your breath flow freely through your heart center, softening you as it rises and falls. Each breath tenderly cares for you as it comes and goes. Each breath softly meeting your heart space. Listen. Just as your breath meets you, meet yourself. Just as the breath tenderly receives everything it comes into contact with, welcome whatever arises in you, thoughts, feelings, even tension. Your breath stays with you no matter what unfolds. Stay with yourself. Softly meet this moment in you. Softly welcome the whole of you. Listen inward, openly, softly, wholly. to bring some awareness back into the body just by allowing the inhales and the exhales to become a little bit deeper and longer. And on your next inhale, taking the arms up overhead, big inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Thank you so much for sharing your yin yoga practice with me. Namaste.